This is your First Alert Weather Breakdown, a deep dive into how weather works with meteorologist CJ Cartledge.
And good morning, everyone. I'm First Alert Meteorologist CJ Cartledge here on the KSLA First Alert Weather Breakdown. Welcome to the episode, and I hope you guys have had a great start to your morning, great start to your day, and a great start to this brand new work week that we are now in here. For today, we have a special guest with us here. We have KSLA's news reporter, Marvin Andrade, here to talk to us about the warm conditions that we can expect throughout this work week. I'll just give you a debrief, Marvin. We're expecting 70s for highs throughout this week, and for lows, we'll stay in the 60s and 50s out there. How are we feeling about that?
Well, first off, thank you for having me here, and good morning to everyone who's watching us as well. But when I heard 70s, I just got excited. My whole body just started tingling. I was like, I miss this weather. For those of you guys who don't know, I'm from Los Angeles, so anything I would say above 85 to 90s is way too hot for me, and anything below is 60s, anything below is like 55. That's as low as I'll go. 55 is way too close. It's like people from LA, we have like our perfect weather that we like prefer. So when I hear it's like gonna be in the 70s, I'm like, I've been asking for this since I moved here, like just consistent weather like this. That's nice. So it's like whenever we have these weeks that's gonna be like 70s and all that, like I always get happy, I always get excited. I'm like, you know what, this reminds me a little bit like back home. So I'm excited for this week. I'm excited to have a little bit of a breeze air coming in, nothing too cold, nothing too hot.
Do you have your winter gear from I know you have winter gear obviously, but what I was asking was, the comparison between what we've seen throughout January, especially with the winter storm, and comparing that to now. Like, how are you feeling throughout that whole process of the cold weather that we experienced here and the winter gear that you had to gather up and everything to prepare for it?
So it's funny that you mentioned that. I honestly had to buy so much clothes, so much jackets, I had to buy basically a whole new wardrobe because I didn't have any jackets. I didn't have gloves. I didn't know gloves were essential. I didn't have a beanie. I didn't have the thing that covers your neck. And I had to buy that once the temperature started dropping to like the 30s and 20s. I'm like, yeah, there's no way I'm gonna be outside without any of this essential clothes. So to answer your question, yeah, now I had to buy a whole lot of stuff that normally I didn't have. But now I'm glad that I'm not having to use those things for this week. I'm glad that I can be out with just a shirt, a long sleeve shirt, no extra clothing. But I had to buy a lot of stuff, CJ. I had to buy a whole lot of stuff because of the winter storm and just the weather, the cold. It's a lot of stuff that I didn't even know you needed, like the gloves. When we're doing that ice storm coverage, I remember there was a couple of times where I had to go out without the gloves and without the beanies. And I kid you not, I would only be out for like 2 minutes and I would go running back into the car. I'm like, never mind, I can't do it. So I had to get my beanie back in. But I'm glad that we don't need that right now. I'm glad you go outside and it's not cold. It's the most exciting thing ever. I don't mind the cold though. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I don't mind it. It's not that bad. But I feel like I don't mind it as long as it's just temporary. But for more than a day or 2 days, I'm like, all right, that's just way too much already. Like, just give it 1 day, maybe two. But when it's a consistent week or 2 weeks like that, it's like, nah.
I definitely understand you, Marvin. Me growing up in Maryland, I've definitely seen my fair share of winter weather. I know you may not have seen your fair share just yet, but it's definitely a wake-up call for sure. How do you feel?
Honestly, the fact that you said I haven't seen my fair share, I'm scared now. I'm like, I don't know what is my fair share, because that was my fair share for me. I keep on telling, like, it was only 3 days, 2 or 4 days, like extreme weather, but it's just whenever it gets cold, like I'm telling you, anything below 50 is already fair share for me. Like, so I'm scared of it. My rest of the time here, it's gonna just keep on getting cold during the winters, because I'm like, I don't know what to expect. I'm like, it's definitely a different environment compared to where I'm from. So, but it's nice to experience. I will say that I'll say it's finally nice to be able to have seasons. That's like the biggest thing, because people who are watching probably like, well, yeah, that's just the normal season. It gets cold during the winter and it gets hot during the summer. That's the thing. I feel like in Los Angeles, you don't get seasons. It's
right.
It varies. I kid you not. 2 weeks ago when the ice storm hit, here it was in the 30s and 20s. Over there it was in the 90s. That's
90s?
crazy. Yeah, like I saw an ABC post saying that it was in the 90s in certain parts of SoCal. I'm like, that's what I was dealing with. I'm like that. I was dealing with winters being hot still and summers still being cold and vice versa. Like I wasn't dealing with seasons where you knew, okay, winter was coming. You're gonna get it's gonna get extremely cold, or you had to prepare. I was just dealing with, it's the same weather year round. But here in Louisiana, apparently, you guys actually get seasons. So that's what I'm excited to experience those seasons. But at the same time, like I kind of do miss the weather back home.
Now, I definitely understand you. You guys pretty much have perfect weather all year round. And in the weather world, it's pretty much the quote-unquote easiest place to forecast for. And upon meteorologists, mainly because it's 70 degrees and sunny for most of the days. Like how you may have already known. I actually want to know this. What's the coldest temperature that you actually felt like living in Southern California?
So I think anything... Once it would hit the 40s, that was extremely cold for us. I can't really recall anything below 30s. I'm pretty sure there was. I don't want to say, it was never under 30s. I'm pretty sure there was a couple times, but it's nothing that I can remember. What I remember is like the 40s. Like it was, once it hit 40s, everyone was going crazy already. Everyone was like, it's extremely cold. And then now you live here and you're like, 40s is cold, but it's not as bad. Like it get worse. And it's funny because when the ice storm was happening, when it was extremely cold, I was calling friends back home and I was telling them, like, guys, like it's in the 30s, it's in the 20s, and they're like, that's extremely cold, and they're like, it's cold over here too. And I was like, how cold is it over there? They're like, it's 45, 50. I'm like, no, that's not cold. I'm like, that's not cold at all. But to answer your question, it's around that. It's around 40s to 50s. That was like your definition of cold over there. And it was, those temperatures were mainly at night. What happens in LA is that in the day it could be hot or whatever, but in the night, for some reason, it gets extremely cold. Extremely cold. And here I noticed that it's not really like that in the summer, but in LA, it's like that in the summer. It's a summer day. It's a hot summer day, and you get in the night, and you'll feel chilly and all that. I was kind of expecting that when I first moved here, but it wasn't like that.
Man, that's what I was expecting, too. Mind you, I came down here in one of the hottest summers on record. I'm going to tell you one fact that I keep reiterating here on this podcast. Shreveport Bossier, they hit 110 degrees in terms of temperatures twice in the same month. In the second, I believe it was a third month that I was here in August of 2023. It hit 110 twice. Feels like temperature's 120.
That's crazy. I don't know what I would do with myself. You see, I'm like, my issue isn't cold. My issue isn't just the cold. Or my issue isn't just the cold or just the hot. It's the extreme cold and the extreme hot.
Exactly.
For us, like, at least for me, it's like I have the cold, which is like 40s, 50s. That's cold for me. I'm like, that's manageable. And then the hot, like 80s, 90s maybe. But when you talk about like 100 and above or like 30s and below, I'm like, my body's just not prepared for that. I'm like, I haven't adapted.
Exactly. On the East Coast of the country, you're gonna get all seasons for sure.
That's crazy.
And in Southern California, y'all kind of in that sweet spot. The jet stream is way north of y'all, more than likely in the Canada area, where in the east side of the country, the jet stream kind of dips into like the Great Lakes region. That's why places like Alabama and Mississippi and Louisiana, they get all the cold weather too, and not so much of the of Southern California. It's mainly that pretty much a conveyor belt of bad weather. That's pretty much of what the jet stream is. It's a conveyor belt of organized systems, that is.
So you see, for the viewers at home watching, you guys just learned something like I did, because I lived in California my whole life, and I didn't know that until he explained it. So I didn't know. So essentially the top is where the cold air and all that systems normally move, and in the bottom is the heat, right?
Right, exactly.
But LA and SoCal is caught in between, so that's why you don't get extreme weather.
That's pretty much why. That's why you see Seattle getting so much rain all the time. It's because that's where the jet stream is. It's a common area for the jet stream, way up high in the air. It's pretty much a driver for organized systems to develop and grow and move across the country. The jet stream ranges pretty much from northwestern portions of the country and crosses over Montana and into Minnesota and down into portions like Ohio and near the Great Lakes region. And that's pretty much where all the organized systems pretty much run from west to east. And some of those systems could dive far south as, Louisiana, Alabama, and stuff like that, or it could remain in the north. That's why all the Northeast gets all that snowfall too, because the jet stream dips right back up into the northeastern United States.
But that's why SoCal doesn't have that stream.
Exactly, because the jet stream is way north of them. Yeah, farther, closer to the poles, that is.
You see, I never knew that until now. Now I understand why they have beautiful weather. I didn't know that. That's some information I'm going to go relay back to my family at home. I'm like, guys, I learned why you guys have beautiful weather.
Exactly. That's why, this is the First Alert Weather Breakdown. We break down all things weather here. But, yeah, thank you so much for joining me today, Marvin. I appreciate you for coming on to the episode and talking about how you're feeling with the weather that's on the way. We're going to be diving into the details of what we can expect throughout this work week. Little to no rain. We could see some rain as we move into this upcoming weekend here, but we're going to be diving into all of those details in just a second, right after this quick break, so make sure to stay tuned for that.
Thank you.
And good morning, everyone, and welcome back. Here's a live look outside through our John Harvey Toyota Sky Camera. We're looking at mostly blue skies here, looking out through this camera, at least, in Bossier City. This is overlooking Benton Road near the I-220 overpass here at the John Harvey Toyota in Bossier City. We're looking at mostly clear conditions out there, as mentioned before. And as we move into the next couple of days here, we will see some slight rain chances. Maybe an isolated shower or two will be possible here. But here's a live look across the country as of right now. There's a low pressure system off to our north and west, far to the north and west there, that it will be responsible for some slight rain chances heading into our Tuesday and Wednesday. But also what I'm covering up here is a high pressure system, which is pretty much the main driver for why we're seeing mostly clear conditions across the area as of right now, across most of the southeastern United States here. We're seeing a couple of clouds move in the far northern portion of that high pressure system there, but as you can see by its circulation, it's pretty much the main driver for why we're seeing nice weather here in the southeastern United States. There's a bit of a disturbance off to our west, as you can see there, bringing about some heavier cloud cover, maybe even some rainfall over there. And mainly that low pressure system up in the northern portion of the country will be the reason for why we will see a bit of a cool down, as well as some slight rain chances here for the Arklatex. We're not going to see much of a cool down, if any at all, actually. This will be a bit of a cold front moving through, which won't present much precipitation for the Arklatex. It'll be a weak cold front with little to no precipitation here. Here's a look at pretty much the zoomed into the Arklatex, and we're seeing a batch of clouds here move in from the west for the mid-sections of the Arklatex between I-20 and I-30, just off the Texarkana. But that's all that's going on as of right now. Next several hours, we can expect these clouds to remain overhead for the most part, possibly build in as we, even more as we move into the evening hours for tonight. Temperatures will be rising well into the 70s across the region, as you can see see by the forecast there. 78 looks to be the temperature by 3 p.m. and 76. And back down to the 60s as we move towards just after sunset for tonight. First alert Doppler radar pretty much shows the same thing as what we showed before, so we're going to move past that. Here's a look at temperatures right now across the region. 68 for Shreveport, 71 for Cartledge, Bienville, Natchitoches, same thing. We're dealing with around 59 for DeQueen still, in the 60s for many areas around the Arklatex, like along I-30 that is, and including Idabel. Around 66 for Magnolia, Texarkana, and 65 for Mount Pleasant in northeastern Texas, that is. But we're much warmer as compared to what we saw yesterday morning here, especially near Shreveport, Bossier, Idabel, and Nacogdoches, dealing with temperatures more than 10 degrees higher than yesterday at this time here, 24 hours ago. As we look towards the middle of the afternoon, highs will rise into the upper 70s, if not the lower 80s here across the region. 80 by Texarkana, 78 for DeQueen and Nashville, 79 for Hope, Stamps, 78 for Spring Hill, and 79 for Doddridge. Looking over in East Texas, we should see more of the lower 80s here, where we were seeing a little bit more of the lower 80s for highs, but it seems to be a bit of a change with the forecast here. But as you can see, 79s for most of us. We more than likely will see the 80s for in many areas around the East Texas portion of the region as compared to everywhere else. 84 potentially for Henderson, Texas. But looking over in Northwest Louisiana, we should see the mid and upper 70s in those regions as well. Moving through the daytime hours tomorrow, clouds are expected to impact us, as you can see there. Not much sunshine will be seen throughout the daytime hours tomorrow. That's mainly due to the approach of that low pressure system that I mentioned before in the northern parts of the country that will move southward. Actually, the system as a whole will move down to the south and east towards the Great Lakes region, and it should bring along a cold front that will not affect temperatures by much, but it will cause maybe a degree or two drop in temperatures here as comparing from Tuesday into Wednesday. And I wouldn't be surprised if it did not drop at all. Just telling you guys how weak that cold front will be. But as you can see with Future Track, I'm just showing you guys the chances for rain we have here throughout the next couple of days ahead of us. Moving through the rest of the daytime hours today, not much is really going to go on here. Once the rest of that fog dissipates, we'll be under mostly sunny conditions through the rest of the day, but foggy conditions will move in from the south once again, and mostly cloudy skies will move in soon afterwards as well, bringing about an isolated shower or two in our easternmost zones of the region. As we move towards the afternoon, not much is still really expected to go on, just still holding under mostly cloudy conditions. Heading towards this evening, not this evening, but tomorrow evening, though, that low-pressure system will slowly make its way into the Arklatex, bringing us maybe an isolated shower or two in the far northern portions of the Arklatex, may become scattered in areas north of I-20 and definitely for areas north of I-30 there. But we should see more showers begin to form through the overnight hours on Tuesday and spilling over into early Wednesday morning. So pretty much bringing a wet commute, especially for areas along I-30 and northward. So make sure to keep an umbrella handy for that time frame. As we move through the daytime hours on Wednesday, cloud cover exits, and we should be back to mostly clear skies heading towards the evening hours on our Wednesday and spilling over into our Thursday morning. But here's a look at future track visibility. We should start to see fog build in as we move through the overnight hours tonight and leading over into early tomorrow morning. Here's a look at what we can expect by around 7 a.m. on our Tuesday, tomorrow morning here, and just about, I would say, 20 hours from now. We should see visibilities drop to around 5 miles and less than a mile near Minden, potentially, in the far northern or far eastern, portions of the Arklatex, especially in north central and northeastern Louisiana, definitely dealing with dense fog. They may go under a dense fog advisory. I wouldn't be surprised if they did by early tomorrow morning, but we should see some foggy conditions mainly on the eastern half of the Arklatex, just east of that Louisiana-Texas border and Louisiana or Arkansas-Texas border as well. The fog should dissipate by the time we reach around the lunch hour for our Tuesday there. Here's a look at highs for tomorrow afternoon. We should stay in the 70s out there. Look, as you can see, lower 70s up to the north. More than likely seeing the mid and upper 70s to the south here. 73 by DeQueen and Broken Bow. 75 for Foreman. 76 for Texarkana. Vivian at around 76 as well. More than likely seeing the upper 70s potentially for Henderson. Mid 70s for those like Cartledge, Center, and and as well as Chirano and Nacogdoches there. Moving over into northwest Louisiana, pretty much the same deal as what we can expect for today. Not much of a change in temperatures there, but low temperatures. This will be a bit surprising out there for you guys. We will be staying in the 50s and 60s. Definitely going to be feeling much more comfortable through the next few mornings ahead of us here. It may get a bit chilly out there for Thursday, but definitely not so much for our Tuesday and Wednesday coming up. Tuesday and Wednesday mornings, that is, and that after that cold front moves through the Arctic, that's going to drop low temperatures into the 50s and some even the 40s out there, but we should see a rise in those low temperatures as we approach the upcoming weekend once again. In terms of high temperatures, we'll stay in the mid and upper 70s across the region for the most part. We should see some low 70s out there too, but temperatures are expected to drop back down into the 60s for highs heading into the upcoming weekend, mainly thanks to our next weather maker. This system here is expected to bring us a good deal of rainfall, and there is a potential for some strong storms, but as of right now, things still seem to be a bit uncertain here in terms of timing as well as intensity. But this is our next big rain chance here for the Arctic, with a little bit of a cool down on the way for us as well. As mentioned before, temperatures will drop from the 70s, mid 70s, down into the upper 60s out there is what I showed before. But rainfall potential, the updated rainfall potential shows that we could see close to 2 inches of rainfall, mainly from this system alone, from the system that will be arriving by this upcoming weekend. And this also factors in the chance for rain we have on Tuesday and Wednesday, but not much rain is expected for many areas around the Arctic. We should see around maybe a quarter of an inch possible for the northern portions of the Arctic, mainly north of I-30, but not much rain is expected out through the work week. We're expecting a bit more rainfall as we head into the weekend coming up. But we'll have more details on timing and intensity, the exact timing and the exact intensity as we get closer in time. Drought conditions still bad right now, but with the rain that we have ahead of us, I can definitely see some dents in the severe drought and potentially the extreme drought after this is all said and done. Hopefully we get the rainfall we are expecting here. Here's our full 7-day forecast as we wrap up today's show. We are expecting the 70s for highs throughout this work week. We're expecting possibly the warmest day of the week for today and this afternoon, as we're expecting the most amount of sunshine, I would say, outside of possibly Thursday. But we should see temperatures drop a little bit heading towards the middle of the work week due to that low pressure system moving through, not bringing much precipitation and not dropping temperatures much, but it will be a slight cool down. You will notice it through that's comparing from Wednesday morning into Thursday morning. As you can see, temperatures drop from the 60s into the 50s out there. But just looking at the end of the forecast period, we should see the temperatures rise before they fall again heading into the upcoming weekend, where we should see a good deal of rainfall on the way for us and slight rain chances heading into the end of the upcoming weekend. Thank you guys so much for tuning into today's episode. I hope you all enjoyed it. I know I enjoyed it. I know Marvin enjoyed it. We hope you guys enjoyed it as well. Make sure to have a great rest of your day as well. You won't need an umbrella for today, but you may need it through the next couple of days, so make sure to keep that handy. I'll be on the KSLA News 12 at noon and 4 today, and Chief Meteorologist Matt Jones, or not, he's actually off today. Chief Meteorologist Matt Jones is off today, and you will see Meteorologist Jake Lambright on the 5, 6, and 10 p.m. shows this evening here. Make sure to tune into the shows. Make sure to stay weather aware, and have a great rest of your day.